once you are done, you get registered with the NMC UK as a registered nurse. Just rightfully so, it is the quickest way to becoming a nurse.
You said it before. Hey, stop that.
Family. So in today's video, I am interviewing this amazing guy. He was my senior back in KNUST, back in nursing school, and he started as a nurse here in the UK, and he's now a senior lecturer in the UK. Today, he's going to tell us about the fastest and the quickest way to become a nurse in the UK for people that have no nursing background or no health background. Let's say you did finance in school, let's say you did engineering, but now with all the opportunities that nurses are getting across the world, now you want to enter into nursing, or even you want to become a nurse in the UK specifically. This is an opportunity for you. He's going to tell us about this new thing, okay, this new opportunity for people that have no health background that can become nurses in the UK in only 2 years. In only 2 years. So we're going to tell you all about this opportunity and the requirements and how to go about it if you're interested. So tell a friend to tell a friend and share this video to as many people as you can so that, you know, they can also get the value, all right? Before I even go into the interview, let me give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video. So today's video is proudly sponsored by Lemonade Finance. So if you don't know already, Lemonade Finance is a money transfer app that allows you to send money from the UK and Canada to 10 different African countries. It is the only money transfer app that I know that does not charge you for transfer. Okay, they have no hidden transaction fees whatsoever. Whatever you send is the amount the person is receiving, and they have the best rate on the market. They allow you to send money from the UK or Canada to Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, and Benin. 10 different African countries. It's the best transfer app on the market at present, guys. They don't have any challenger, no challenger at all. And if you're not in the UK or you're not in Canada, so you can't benefit from Lemonade Finance at the moment, don't worry. I have inside just that will be going to other European countries and the United States very, very soon. So trust that immediately they launch in those countries, I'll be the first to let you know. You can download Lemonade Finance, whether you use an iPhone or whether you use an Android phone. When you send money using my referral code on your first transfer above £100, you get 10% of the money you're transferring back into your account. When you use my referral code Nanelle, and then you send £100, you get £10 back into your account. If you send £200, you get £20 back, but it's capped at £50. Okay, so download Lemonade Finance app using the link in the description below, and then send money with my referral code. Okay, and let me know what you think about Lemonade Finance. Thank you, Lemonade Finance, for sponsoring this video. Now let's go to the main reason why you clicked on this video.
Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Nanelle Griselda. Today I have here someone I so much admire. So his name is Precious Adadidoji. I know him from back in Ghana. When I was in first year in nursing school, he was our nursing association president. Very admirable per se, you know, he was always doing the right thing, very inspiring and all that. And fast forward, I know he got a scholarship, a Commonwealth scholarship to come to the UK after doing his national service back in Ghana. So he came to the UK, he did his master's, and then he did the whole NMC process, became a nurse in the UK for a while, and then he moved to become a nursing lecturer in a UK university. Can you imagine? And he's currently doing his postgraduate as well. He has so much knowledge when it comes to the UK educational system and, you know, postgraduate studies and all that. And today he's going to tell us more about this pre-registration adult MSc nursing program. Let me also say that he also has a YouTube channel called The Discovery Show, TDS, right? He has hosted me on his channel before. If you haven't seen it, head over and then go and have a look. And then he has so many inspiring interviews on his YouTube channel. You should, you know, head over. I'll leave the link in the description and on the screen as well, so that you can see and then head over and then, you know, get some knowledge and some information. So welcome, Precious, to my channel. I'm so happy that you're here, honestly. So happy.
Thank you very much. You know, I would like to always mention your name in full, Nanelle Griselda Inti, aka Mrs. Pepper. Thank you very much that was a long profile, and you can see I'm blushing, isn't it? Thank you very much for the long profile. Thank you.
It is well deserved. You've done so well. Well done.
Thank you, Nanelle.
Is there anything I left out, by the way?
Well, if I add anything, it will be like I'm blowing my horn. But well, I'm a senior lecturer in adult nursing here at the university, and as you rightly said, I'm also doing my PhD alongside. So full-time senior lecturer, part-time PhD. I'm a nurse, as you rightly said, and I also double as an admissions tutor for our program. So I interview people on weekly basis for our BSc program and all that. So so that's what I can say for now.
Wow. I don't even know what it takes to be a senior lecturer and all that, but we'll get into that later. Maybe you come back. Today we want to talk about, correct me if I don't say the title. Is it MSc Pre-Registration Adult?
Okay, so thank you. So that's MSc pre-registration nursing, but as you rightly know, we have adult nursing, mental health, learning disability, and child nursing. So depending on which one you are moving into, then we can say pre-registration MSc adult nursing or mental health nursing, learning disability nursing, or child nursing. Yeah.
I see. I see. So for those who are hearing this whole thing for the first time, briefly explain what it is.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, for those of us who are watching us, where you coming from, perhaps your nursing program for a degree entails or span a 4-year period. For example, in Ghana, BS is 4 years. Here in the UK, it is predominantly 3 years. However, we believe that there are some people who may not necessarily have a nursing background and may want to still go into nursing. So they already hold a degree. They must hold a degree, and it should not necessarily be in a nursing background, from a nursing background. So this is more of a facilitated 2-year nursing program. So the BSc nursing is 3 years, but because you want to facilitate it based on the fact that you already hold a degree, this is a 2-year program in most schools. I know in some schools it might be about 2.5 years, but most schools is just 2 years. So that is why we call it MSc pre-registration. Remember, if you already held a nursing degree and you wanted to do it, then that would be a post-registration. But this is pre-registration because you've not already been registered as a nurse. So that is in short the meaning of that MSc pre-registration program. But the main condition is that you should already hold a first degree.
In whatever field.
Whatever field, yeah.
And then it leads to being registered with the NMC of UK, right?
Rightfully so. So once you are done, you get registered with the NMC UK as a registered nurse, just like a 3-year BSc program, just like a 4-year degree program, just like a diploma nurse being registered with the NMC UK. So that is it.
This is really great, Precious. You know that is so great. I get messages from people saying that now they think like they want to go into nursing, but they're thinking of going to school. Some of them have degrees, some of them even have a master's already, and then they just now want to, let's say they've moved to the UK, and then some of them, it's usually because they're not finding jobs in their qualifications, and then they want to go into nursing, and then they are thinking of going to school for 3 years, and this whole IELTS thing and all this Osce thing is just so much. So for people that are back at home, or people that have moved with their partners here as dependents that want to go into nursing, if you already have a degree, this is a great opportunity. All you need is a degree, and then you only need 2 years, and then like Precious said, some schools do 2.5 years, and then after that you can be registered with the UK NMC as a nurse, and then you can get a job. Wow.
Rightfully so. It is the quickest way to becoming a nurse. And I mean, within a month, I've heard of 2 stories, people who hold PhDs in different fields who want to come into nursing, and they have to enroll for this. So they've left their profession, even though they are PhD holders, and they are now pursuing this well-facilitated 2-year nursing program. So yeah, it's very great, and a lot of people are taking that.
So tell us, which universities are offering this program?
So we have quite a lot of universities offering this program broadly. I can talk about University of Cambria, University of Huddersfield, University of Coventry, Manchester Metropolitan University. We can talk about University of Chester. So the list go on and on and on. And I'm going to leave a link with you where you can just post it there for people to just assess that. Yeah.
So I know that you are a nursing lecturer at University of Huddersfield, right?
That's right.
So let's say for your school and for most other universities that offer this program, what are their requirements?
Okay, great. So just like I said, this is a 2-year facilitated program. Generally, the NMC or Nursing and Midwifery Council UK require that by the end of a 3-year BSc program, for instance, you should have achieved about 4,600 hours of practice and theory. In most schools, it is 50% theory, 50% practice. So that amounts to 2,300 hours of theory, 2,300 hours of practice. And usually this is achievable within the 3-year period. But because now this is a 2-year program, it means you need some sort of prior experience before you can come into this program. And usually they call it a pre-registration portfolio. So what that means is that perhaps if you've worked in care before, or if you've worked in any public-facing profession where you think you can tailor the experiences you've had, it may not necessarily be a nursing program or healthcare, but you think you can tailor those experiences you've had in line with the NMC, main themes that we have, then you can just justify. So just like a personal statement. So they give you a few questions you need to answer, which they call portfolio. And again, you need, let's say, wherever you've worked, let's say you've worked in a care setting, you need a registered nurse to certify that indeed this person has worked here for a period of time. And we estimate that based on the hours of work he's done, he falls within, let's say, a period of, let's say, 300 hours or 500 hours. It differs from school to school. So for my school, for example, we may say that you need at least 325 hours of practice as a proof. So that will reduce that 4,600 hours that the NMC require at the end of the program. So it means that you're already starting, having done some hours before you start the program. So it means that in the end, you have shorter hours to do compared to the 4,600. Some schools will require that you do 500 hours before you come in. Others will require more than that. So it varies across. But for my school, University of Huddersfield, for example, you require that you should have done at least 325 hours of practice and 325 hours of theory, for example. Yeah.
Are you saying a person should have done both the practice and the theory as well, or just the practice?
Yes. So for the practice, 325.
Okay.
And then for theory, you need about 550 hours. So you might be wondering, where do I get that theory from? If you have completed your BSc, that's why I said you should have been a first degree holder. I mean, the hours you've done on your theory in most cases will cover this 550. So you just need someone to more like write a reference to ascertain that indeed you did these hours, and that will cover for the 550. Whilst you are practicing, if you've been doing any continuous professional development, all these are hours. Let's say the mandatory trainings we do at various work places and all that, those ones can also be part of the 550 hours for my school. So like I keep saying for my school because the hours will vary from school to school. So for University of Huddersfield, 550 hours of theory, 325 hours of practice hours. Yeah.
And then are you saying that all these universities that offer this program, they require you to do these hours? Like
all the schools, as far as I'm aware, because like I said, this is a facilitated program and you can't achieve, it's almost impossible to achieve the 4,600 hours within 2 years. And it is for the same reason some schools will do it for 2.5 hours, so that you have to produce just few hours as your portfolio, then you can do the rest. So if you want a shorter period, then we want you to at least demonstrate some prior experience, not necessarily in a care setting, but broadly any area you feel you've had contact with customers, you've had contact with patients, and you can prove that indeed your experience aligns with the Nursing and Midwifery Council code of practice.
So let's say I studied business administration. Let's say I was working at a bank. I can use my BSc degree, the hours that I did when I was doing my business administration course, to meet the requirement of the
550 hours.
550 hours that your school requires. I can use the BSc that I did. I can just get a reference from, let's say, a lecturer in my school to ascertain that I actually did those hours theory for my BSc business administration course. That will meet that requirements for the 500.
That's right. That's right.
And then my experience working as a banker, because I have interactions with people, blah, blah, blah. I can also use that, the number of hours that I've worked as a bank teller. Can I use that to meet the requirements of the practice hours as well? Will a banker qualify?
Certainly. So just like I said, this may vary from school to school. So I remember last 2 weeks or so, I helped someone with, preparing for a similar interview elsewhere. And the person told me that that particular school, I think they were more particular about being in a healthcare setting. So that is pertaining to that school. For some schools, it doesn't matter, irrespective of your background. So far as you're able to align, for example, your business environment, the experiences you've gained towards the prioritize people, practice effectively, preserve safety, and then promote professionalism and trust. If you're able to align these experiences towards these 4 themes of the NMC code, then you qualify for it. So it might differ slightly from school to school, but generally most of the schools do not really pay attention to whether it's a health background, a business background, or any other field. Yeah.
And then should the experience, that is the practice hours, should it be a paid something, or volunteer work can be considered?
That's a good question. It could just be a volunteering work. It could just be a paid work. It could be just a part-time, anything at all. Yeah.
Wow. So if you're interested, you have to check the different universities to see whether they would accept non-care practice hours as well.
That's right. For my school, we don't pay attention to a healthcare setting. For other schools, like I rightly said, with the other person's experience, they were more particular about a healthcare experience. So it would be good to just give a quick check. And most of the schools will specify whether you shouldn't necessarily be from a healthcare background or not. Yeah.
So this is, I think, the major requirements.
That's the major, that's the major hurdle.
Degree, and then you have to have a degree. Yeah,
that's right. And also, for example, you should have at least schooled for 12 hours of general education. So what it means is that if genuinely, yes, so genuinely, if you've done a degree, you would have covered that 12 years. These are just, tick boxes. 12 years, you should have, if you started from primary all the way, you would have finished with all these. Yeah. If you're an international student, remember Ghana, Nigeria, and some other schools they are not classified as countries where you can have your English language requirement waived. For the same reason, we are asked to write the IELTS, which is anyway being contended. And recently, yesterday, I saw, one very important message from the NMC. They are considering, because there's been a lot of advocacy, whether to revoke that requirement. So I think there's some good news on the way coming. Not yet, but it's still in place. So what I'm trying to say is that you also need some IELTS requirements. So for my school, we need a minimum of, say, 6.5. Some schools require a minimum of 5.5. But generally, yes. And then your overall, some schools will say your overall should be at least 6.5. Other schools will say your overall should be 6.0 and a minimum band of 5.5. So that also differs slightly from each school. But I can say that if you have 6.0 minimum and then you have an overall of 6.5, you are almost always qualified for all the schools here.
Wow. And then this is academic, IELTS academic.
Academics, certainly. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the fees. Average.
Great. Just before the fees, you know that, of course, anytime you have to come and do any program in here as an international student, you'll be required to do a DBS and health check, police check, wherever you've stayed and all that. So we should know about that. Now, back to the fees. This is where the main challenge is. Of course, for the portfolio, whatever happens, you can readily do it with little support here and there. The fees is quite expensive, and that is where the hurdle is. So for home student, it is like 9,250 for almost all schools. And the interesting thing is that the government gives a non-repayable grant of 5,000 to almost all home students. So they get 5,000 free of charge.
Please hold on. Those who don't know what home student is, like, please explain. If you say home
so we have international student and home student. Let's say you have permanent residence here, you qualify as a home student. If you have not had, let's say, your permanent residence in UK, then you qualify as an international student. So you may be working here and you may have stayed here for 4 years, but you still be classified as an international student. So for home student, let's say you were Ghanaian, you were Nigerian, whichever country you're coming from, you've stayed here beyond 5 years, you have your permanent residence, then you qualify as a home student, then you'll be required to pay like 9,250 per year. And then you also have a government bursary like 5,000 per year for you. So basically, you've waived that down more than half. And there's also an additional £3,000 that you can apply for. Let's say if you have childcare and all that, that is also free. Remember, these are non-repayable. You will not be required to pay them. So these are all measures to ensure that people from this country and also those who qualify, their interest is being, whipped up to ensure that they go into nursing, because it's a workforce that they really need a lot of people. And they also qualify for things like reimbursement of their travel costs. So if you travel for a longer distance compared to what is expected, then the government, at the end of the day, you can have a claim of all those amount of monies. If, let's say, you traveled for a placement and you stayed for, you got a hotel not expected, you can claim all these amounts. So that is the benefit, or these are the benefits you can get as a home student.
So basically, if you're permanent in the UK and then you want to take the opportunity, or if you are a citizen here, basically you're not paying much. Maybe at the end of the day, if you deduct all these things, you're probably paying like £500 or just like
Absolutely. You can have all these benefits.
What about international students?
So that is where the trouble is. So international student, in some schools, it's like 15,000 per year. In some schools, it's like 18,000. Others, 18,500. So it varies. But I can say for so far, all the fees are
pounds to it.
Pounds, British pounds. British pounds. Most of the schools I've seen, it doesn't seem to be lower than 15,000. The lowest I've seen, almost always 15,000 and above. And also you can't pay per year, and you can't claim all these benefits I spoke about earlier, like the travel costs. You can't claim that. You need, of course, you know about accommodation. You need to get your own accommodation and all that. So this is what makes it really expensive for international students to pursue. But other than that, it is a very, 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 very good program. But it's the funding. So if you can afford, it's good to do that. If you can get funding from your home, country, anywhere, that will be great. Yeah.
Do they offer scholarship opportunities for international students?
So most schools will have some sort of waivers, some sort of scholarships. But in most cases, these are not huge sums of monies. So for my school, for example, we have a minimum of, say, £2,000 for international students, which is not much per year. You can apply for that. Other schools may have other scholarships like £5,000 per year you can apply for. That is not automatic. You need to apply and go through the grill to see that indeed you qualify for it. So you might have individual scholarships in all the universities that you can apply for, but I can bet you these are not huge sums of monies. And I have not seen, the grand scholarships like Commonwealth Scholarship. Anyway, I benefited from Commonwealth, so I'll readily mention that they do not cover programs like this. So
why not?
I must say, Commonwealth, in most cases, of course, there are exceptions. They mostly sponsor 1-year programs, and you might have, in few circumstances, let's say 18 months programs and all that, and maybe sometimes 2-year programs, but they are quite predominantly 1-year programs. These are also programs that are more like a pre-registration program, so they do not cover for this. I remember Commonwealth is in categories. So let's say we have Commonwealth Share Scholarship, which I benefited. The Commonwealth Commission will be paying your tuition and the school will be paying your stipend. Because this is a special edition of a nursing program, most of the schools wouldn't want to partner to sponsor such a program. So among other reasons, this is why it's very difficult for such programs to be sponsored. Yeah.
Let's say I'm back in Ghana and I want to take this opportunity. Do they offer this program online as well for people back at home? Or for international applicants? Yeah.
Great. So you can apply, as an international student wherever you are. And I must say, you need to attend an interview. You have to attend an interview. For some schools, once you are successful for the interview, you just need to complete your portfolio, as I spoke about, and then they consider you for the slots on the program. For other institutions, once you do the individual interview and you pass, you also do a group interview. It is simply because there are a lot of applications and there are few spots on these programs. So they try to sieve it as much as they can. That's why there are all these. Now, specifically to your question, you can apply as an international student, but you will at some point need to be in the UK. In my school, we have the traditional route and we also have the blended route.
You mean they have online programs?
There's an online, which we call the blended learning.
Okay.
But even though it is online, you will still need to be in the UK. So what it means is that you don't need to be necessarily closer to where my school is, because you are not required to be on campus every day. At least you'll be required to do 20 hours of on-campus session per year. So you can be wherever you live. You can be in Northern Ireland and still be a student of University of Huddersfield. And you'll find a placement for you wherever you are, closer to you. But you have to just be here on campus 20 hours the whole year. So we can plan, let's say for a day, we can have a lot of sessions you have to do, and you can have 2 or 3 days, and then you would have satisfied that condition. So what it means is that if you're in Northern Ireland and then you're a student here, we can find placement for you there. You don't need to travel here. So that is what makes it a blended online approach. However, you necessarily need to be in the UK. But the point here is that at some point in time, you may do an elective placement. So you can decide that, okay, for my last placement, I want to go and do it in Ghana. I want to do it in Nigeria. I want to do it in any other country. And that can be arranged. But at some point, you need to be in the UK.
I think it's a good thing as well, because let's say I've got a scholarship from, let's say, Get Fund in Ghana to come and do this program. And then they are taking care of only the teaching. And let's say I have to cover my accommodation. But I have family members. So I can actually be staying with the family members and then only show up on the campus for let's say your school for the 20 hours mandatory per year. So that means your accommodation can be catered for. You understand?
That's right.
So I think it has its good part as well. So because it's demanding, do you think somebody who is successful, let's say the person comes to the UK to do this program, can the person still do part-time? Because like you said, it's an accelerated program and then it's like packed.
Certainly, of course, you can still do your part-time. Remember, if you're an international student on a student visa, you have 20 hours per week to do any shift. So you can do that. But that requires a lot of discipline because remember, like I said, this is an accelerated program. So you have to study and be ahead of yourself. And in most schools, the 50% of theory, it has different divisions according to schools' prescriptions. Other schools will say that have 35 hours of or 35% of self-directed study. So you attend lecture. Most of the other things, we direct you, we give you the information on the virtual learning platform, let's say Blackboard, Brightspace, where you can go there and learn by yourself. Other schools will say that, okay, 35% of the theory, you have to do online teaching. So lecturers will teach you, and then the 15% learn by yourself. So depending on where you find yourself, if assuming you have 35% of your own self-directed study, you can decide I want to work 20 hours per week. And then this is how I learn. So I'm going to learn, let's say Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to work. But let's say Wednesday to Sunday, I'm going to study. So it boils down to discipline. You can definitely work. Yeah.
So obviously the main challenges will be the fees and then the requirements when it comes to the practice hours and then.
Yes. For me, I think the main problem really is the fees. The practice hours, you can always get around that. Anyway, people are doing it. We have a number of international students who are doing it. And it looks a bit cumbersome. It's just like applying for any other scholarship or even applying even for admission for any other program. You need to write personal statement. You need to get references here and there. All you need for practice is for someone you've worked with to ascertain that indeed you've done a number of hours, and you yourself can write your personal statement to justify and align these things with the NMC code. So it's a hurdle just like any other thing, but it is, you can easily cross that. My main challenge to me has to do with the fees. Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously after you finish this course, you're going to get a job easily because straight away you are a qualified nurse in the UK and you can easily get a job.
So what happened is that for me, I am a personal academic teacher as well. So every lecturer is in some way a personal academic teacher. You have a number of students you take care of, provide pastoral support throughout their stay. In my school, a personal academic tutor is also responsible for writing references for your students. I write references almost every day for my students to get jobs. Once they are in their final year and they are almost finishing, a lot of them secure jobs even before they leave. Remember, they really need people to work. So once you qualify on this 2-year program, you get a job and they'll be willing to offer you the tier 2 visa. So you do the processing and you don't necessarily need to go back. So yeah,
you can actually switch from tier 4 to tier 2 visa. So there's no need going back to your home country. You can actually just switch whilst you are still in the UK. Yes.
That's right.
So can you briefly tell us about the course structure for, let's say, your university?
Okay. So it varies from school to school, but specifically, as you said, for my school, the models vary. So in my school, you do a model like becoming a professional. So if you are doing adult nursing, MSc pre-reg, then you'll be becoming a professional adult nursing. If it's mental health, becoming a professional mental health in that respect. We also have introduction to adult nursing practice. So the nursing practice is where you do your placement. Then we also have understanding knowledge and evidence for nursing. We also have developing critical knowledge and skills in adult nursing. So if it is mental health, it will be the same format. Yep. And then developing research knowledge and evidence for adult nursing practice. So that is for year 1. If you have to do the year 2, then you'll be doing developing as a professional. Remember, the first one says becoming a professional. This is developing as a professional. So almost all the time, the second year models will build up on the first year models. The same way if you are doing a BSc, the second year, third year will always be just a modification of the first year model, just to build up on that. So the second year models will be developing as a professional, being a professional, enhancing knowledge and skills in adult nursing or mental health or whichever. Nursing practice, using evidence and research to enhance adult nursing practice or mental health, whichever. So these are the models for my school. I know the names will vary. I remember where most of us are coming from, we follow the biomedical approach. So we do anatomy, physiology.
I didn't hear anatomy and physiology.
We don't do that in the UK. So I'm not saying we don't do anatomy and physiology. What I'm saying is that they are not models on their own.
Okay.
So if you talk about introduction to adult nursing, we have anatomy and physiology in there. But the point is that they don't go into detail like we will talk about this detail. No. You need the foundation. You need the basics to help you. So that is an advantage a lot of international nurses.
UK, yeah.
Yeah. That's the advantage a lot of international nurses have. If you've really done this biomedical approach and you know a lot of anatomy and physiology, with this thriving and good environment, you can thrive and you can do so well because you know your basics and you can really do well. Yeah.
So how can I apply if I'm interested?
Great. So for almost all the schools, you go to their platform, the school university's website, and it will tell you where the link is. Preferably, some of the requirements may differ from country to country. So, for example, if I'm applying from Ghana and another person is applying from another country, maybe I may need an IELTS or IELTS, another person may not need it. So most of the schools will say where I come from. So you click that, you look at your country, and it will tell you some of the extra requirement you may need or not. So that is about that. So once you go to the school's website, you check all these, requirements, and you think you qualify, you're eligible, you go to the application, platform, there's a portal, you apply. And once you apply, it goes to the admissions office and usually through the international office if you're an international student, and that'll be processed, and then you'll be fixed for an interview, and then you sit for the interview, most times virtually. It used to face-to-face, but with the advent of COVID, we've changed this over and over, so we do that virtually. And then once you apply and you do the interview and you qualify, then this is where you need to complete your portfolio. So we don't bother you to go through all the portfolio and all that before you come for the interview, assuming you didn't get it. That would be a waste of time. So it is when you are selected that we ask you to go and do all these, which is easily done in some respect, and in some respect it might be slightly difficult, but you can easily surmount that. So that is the easiest way. Yeah.
And with the fees, am I expected to have 100% of it before I come, or I can pay part or I can pay monthly?
So that might differ from school to school, that might differ from student to student, but in most cases at the end of the academic year you should have completed your fees. So that also means that you can make arrangements through maybe your personal academic tutor, through your course leader, through your division head. This is the peculiar situation I have. I am not able to pay everything at once. I want to have some sort of support so that I can pay it, in bit. And that can be done for you. But in most cases, at the end of the year, academic year, you should have completed that.
But before I get the CAS to apply for the student's visa, how much of the tuition fee should I have paid?
Again, like I said, it differs from school to school. Some schools will require that you make some amount of deposit. Others will require, let's say, £2,000. Others will require in percentage, let's say 50%. Others will say 30% before you can get a CAS. So it varies from school to school. Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot. So can people that are interested contact you personally for assistance?
Nanelle. All right. Nanelle, I'll do my best to support people, but as I rightly said, I'm extremely busy, Nanelle. I wouldn't lie to you. It is for the same reason why, even for the Discovery show, I have to do a live interview so that once I'm done, I'm done. Because going back, editing and all that. So anyway, straight to the point. I'll do my best. But please bear with me. If you send me a message, if you send me an email, and I have not been able to respond as early as you may want, please don't be offended. It's because I'm extremely hard-struck, and as I said, I'm lecturing full-time and I'm doing PhD part-time, so it's a lot of work for me, but I'll do my best to support.
And you are a husband. Oh.
And I'm deeply and seriously involved in church as well. So if I'm not here, I'm here. So yeah.
You're doing so well.
Thank you
So much. I'll leave your Facebook and then your YouTube details here so that people can contact you. I am so happy that you came over. Do you have any final words?
Yeah, thank you. It's a privilege, Nanelle. I must say it's been a long time. We've tried to fix this over and over again, but I was happy I was able to come. If you didn't pick anything at all, we are saying that for this program, it is a 2-year facilitated route to get into nursing here in the UK. And that means that in order to help achieve this, abridged version of the program, you should have had some experiences, irrespective of your background. You should be able to prove that you've done some sort of theory and practice, and you have to prove that through a portfolio. You should also hold the first degree, and also the fee is the most challenging. And we hope you are able to overcome that. I wish you all the best. I will say that, like Nanelle said briefly on the Discovery Show TDS TV, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. I do live interviews most times. It's simply because we want to know people's journey. So it's more like a personality profile. People are coming from different backgrounds. And you may think that you are the only one going through the challenge you are going through now. But many people may have gone through and they are where they are now. So we interview them to share their lives, and they also throw light on what opportunities exist. So please do follow us also on The Discovery Show on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and then YouTube especially. Thanks for having me, Nanelle. It's been a privilege, Mrs. Pepper.
Thank you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye.
Bye. God bless you.